The projector clicked on during the annual shareholder gala and the entire ballroom froze. There, blown up across the screen in crystal clarity, was Finn Harlan, married CEO of Harlan Dynamics, kissing Levi Caldwell with a tenderness that left no room for doubt. Gasps rippled through the crowd like a shockwave. Finn's wife Elena stood 2 tables away, her champagne glass slipping from her fingers and shattering on the marble floor. In that single heartbeat, his entire empire teetered. Security rushed forward, but Finn didn't move. He simply stared at the image of himself finally looking alive, finally honest. Security escorted him out a side door while cameras flashed like lightning. His phone exploded with notifications before he even reached the elevator. Board members texted demands for an emergency meeting at dawn. Elena's message was shorter: "Come home. Now." But Finn's feet carried him toward the service exit instead, where Levi waited in the shadows of the alley, coat collar turned up against the October wind. "I didn't leak it," Levi said immediately, voice cracking. "I swear on everything." Finn pulled him into a fierce hug, the kind they'd never risked in daylight. "I know. But the world just did." They drove in Levi's old Jeep through the rain-slicked streets of Manhattan, neither speaking until they reached Levi's small apartment in Chelsea. Inside, Finn paced like a caged animal while Levi brewed coffee neither of them would drink. "Sarah called me twice," Finn finally admitted, using his wife's name like a shield. "The kids are asking why Daddy's picture is on every news site." Levi sat on the edge of the couch, elbows on his knees. "What are you going to tell them?" Finn stopped pacing. The question hung between them heavier than the scandal itself. For 12 years he had built walls. Perfect husband, ruthless CEO, doting father, and one stolen kiss had torn them down. Memories flooded in uninvited. He remembered the first time he noticed Levi at the Chicago Tech Conference last year. Levi had been presenting on sustainable AI, voice steady, eyes bright with passion Finn hadn't felt in years. After the panel, Finn had approached him under the pretense of corporate synergy. They talked for 3 hours straight, skipping the after-party. Levi listened the way no one else ever had. Not Elena, not his board, not even his own reflection. When Levi confessed quietly that he was gay and tired of hiding it, Finn felt something crack open inside his chest. He hadn't said anything that night, but the next morning he offered Levi a VP position at Harlan Dynamics. It was the first selfish decision he'd made in a decade. Now, in the dim apartment light, Finn sank beside Levi. "I don't know how to fix this." Levi reached for his hand, thumb tracing the wedding band Finn still wore. "Maybe it's not about fixing. Maybe it's about finally choosing." Outside, sirens wailed toward downtown, where the news vans were already circling Harlan Tower. Finn closed his eyes and for the first time in his life let himself feel the terror and the relief at the same time. The empire he'd spent 20 years building was burning, but for once he wasn't alone in the flames. By sunrise, the board had already voted to suspend him pending investigation. Elena's lawyer sent divorce papers via courier before Finn even made it home. He stood in the foyer of their Upper East Side townhouse staring at the documents while his daughter Lily, only 8, tugged his sleeve asking why Mommy was crying in the kitchen. His son Jacob, 12 and too perceptive for his age, simply looked at the newspaper on the counter and whispered, "Is that really you, Dad?" Finn knelt, pulling both kids close, and for the first time didn't have a scripted answer. He could only hold them and wonder how much of their father they would still recognize once the truth finished spilling out. Levi texted from the office he'd been locked out of. "They took my badge. I'm at the cafe on 23rd. Come if you can." Finn kissed his children's foreheads, told Elena he needed air, and walked out into the crisp autumn morning. Every step toward Levi felt like both betrayal and salvation. The city moved around him. Taxis honking, pedestrians scrolling their phones, strangers already whispering his name. Finn Harlan, once untouchable, was now the lead story on every morning show. Yet strangely, The weight that had pressed on his chest for years felt lighter with each block he walked. He found Levi nursing a black coffee at a corner table, eyes red-rimmed but steady. "I resigned before they could fire me," Levi said quietly. "Didn't want to give them the satisfaction." Finn sat across from him, the small table suddenly the only safe place left in the world. "You didn't have to do that." Levi shrugged, a sad smile tugging at his lips. "I did it for me. And for us. Whatever us is allowed to be now." They talked for hours. About the nights they'd stolen in hotel rooms across 3 states. About the guilt that followed each goodbye. About the way Finn's hands shook every time he put his wedding ring back on. Levi never pushed, never demanded. He simply listened the way he always had. By afternoon the stock had dropped 14%. Analysts called it the fastest value destruction in Harlan Dynamics history. Finn's phone buzzed relentlessly. Lawyers, reporters, old college friends suddenly remembering they existed. He silenced it and reached across the table for Levi's hand right there in public. The simple act felt revolutionary. "I'm scared," Finn admitted, voice barely above a whisper. Levi squeezed back. "Good. Means you're finally awake." Outside the cafe window, a news ticker scrolled past. "Harlan CEO's secret gay affair rocks Wall Street." Finn read it once, twice, then looked at Levi and laughed. A raw, broken sound that surprised them both. For the first time in 42 years, Finn Harlan wasn't performing. He was simply being. The rest of the day blurred into strategy sessions with his crisis PR team, who begged him to deny everything. "Claim it was photoshopped," they pleaded. "Blame a hacker." Finn listened politely, then told them he was done lying. When he left the meeting, he drove straight to Levi's apartment again. They ordered Thai food and sat on the floor eating from containers like college kids. Levi fell asleep against Finn's shoulder around midnight, and Finn stayed awake watching the rise and fall of his chest, memorizing the peace he felt in that small, ordinary moment. Tomorrow the world would demand answers. Tonight he let himself breathe. Morning brought the first lawsuit. A major investor claimed breach of fiduciary duty and demanded Finn's immediate removal. Elena filed for full custody citing moral unfitness. Finn read the documents at Levi's kitchen counter while Levi scrambled eggs neither of them had appetite for. "I never wanted to hurt them," Finn said, voice hollow. Levi slid a plate in front of him. "You didn't wake up one day and decide to be gay, Finn. You woke up and decided to stop pretending." The words landed like truth serum. Finn ate slowly, tasting salt from tears he hadn't realized were falling. They spent the day mapping damage control, not for the company but for the people. Finn called his sister in Boston, the only family member who answered. "I always knew," she said gently. "Mom suspected too. Dad would have been proud you finally stopped lying to yourself." The kindness cracked something deeper. By afternoon Finn had drafted a statement, short, honest, devastating. "I am gay. I have been in a loving relationship with Levi Caldwell. I take full responsibility for the pain this causes my family and ask for privacy as we navigate this." Levi read it twice, then nodded. "It's brave. But it won't be enough for them." They released it at 5 p.m. Within minutes, the internet split in two. Support poured in from unexpected places, young employees, LGBTQ advocacy groups, even a few competitors who admired the honesty. Hate arrived faster. Death threats, slurs, calls for boycott. Harlan Dynamics stock hit circuit breakers. The board called an emergency video meeting where half the members refused to look Finn in the eye. "You've destroyed everything we built," the CFO spat. Finn met their anger calmly. "I built it on a lie. Maybe it needed destroying." He offered his resignation effective immediately. They accepted before he finished speaking. That night Levi and Finn walked the high line in silence, hands brushing but not holding. Too raw for public affection yet. "I keep thinking about Jacob's face this morning," Finn confessed. "He wouldn't even hug me goodbye." Levi stopped under a string of lights. Kids are resilient, but they need time, and you need to give it to them without disappearing. Finn turned to him, the city glittering around them like a promise. What if I lose them? Levi cupped his face, thumbs wiping away the cold tears. Then we grieve. Then we rebuild. But you don't lose yourself again. Not for anyone. The next weeks became a masterclass in falling. Finn moved into a temporary corporate apartment the board hadn't yet seized. Elena changed the locks on their home. The kids' school sent a formal letter requesting he stay away from campus events to avoid distraction. Each blow landed heavier than the last. Levi stayed steady, bringing groceries, sitting through panic attacks at 3 a.m., reminding Finn to shower and eat. Their relationship, once stolen moments of passion, became something quieter. Shared silences, gentle touches, late-night talks about childhoods neither had ever fully shared. Finn learned Levi grew up in rural Ohio, came out at 16 and was promptly kicked out. He'd clawed his way through community college and scholarships while Finn had been handed Ivy League and trust funds. The contrast humbled him. One evening Levi brought home a small box. Inside was a simple silver chain with a tiny compass pendant. "So you always know which way is true north," he said, clasping it around Finn's neck. Finn stared at it, throat tight. "I don't deserve you." Levi kissed his forehead. "You deserve to be loved without conditions. That's all I'm offering." They fell asleep on the narrow couch, Finn's head on Levi's chest, listening to the heartbeat that had become his anchor. But peace was temporary. A former colleague sold photos from a team retreat. Finn and Levi laughing by a lake, shoulders touching. The tabloids ran with secret gay lovers' planned takeover. Elena used the new images in court to strengthen her custody case. Finn's lawyer warned the odds were bad. Judges still frown on this kind of thing in certain circles. Finn spent the night vomiting, convinced he was losing his children forever. Levi held his hair back, wiped his face, and whispered, "You're not alone in this fight." The following morning Finn did something radical. He called his lawyer and asked to offer Elena a settlement far above what she demanded. The townhouse, majority assets, generous child support, in exchange for joint custody and weekly video calls. "I just want them to know their father isn't ashamed," he told Levi later. Levi smiled, proud and sad at once. "That's the man I fell in love with." As winter approached, the media frenzy slowed but never stopped. Finn started therapy, something he'd mocked for years. The therapist, a kind woman named Dr. Patel, helped him unpack decades of repression, Catholic guilt, and the fear that loving a man made him less of a man. Sessions left him drained but clearer. Levi attended a few, learning how to support without rescuing. Their love deepened in the quiet ways that mattered. Cooking dinner together, reading the same book, Finn learning to say, "I love you," without looking away. Yet the company he'd poured his life into continued its freefall. New leadership slashed benefits and laid off staff. Finn watched from afar, guilt gnawing. One fired employee posted a viral video blaming the gay CEO for everything. Comments flooded with agreement. Levi found Finn staring at the screen, eyes empty. "They're wrong," Levi said firmly. "You gave them jobs, vision, opportunity. The rest is on them." Finn turned off the laptop and pulled Levi close. "I'm starting to believe that." Christmas arrived cold and complicated. Finn spent Christmas Eve with the kids at a neutral park, watching them open gifts he'd bought online. Jacob hugged him goodbye for the first time in weeks. Lily whispered, "I miss you, Daddy." Elena watched from the car, arms crossed, but didn't interfere. That small mercy felt like grace. Finn drove back to Levi's apartment with tears freezing on his cheeks. Levi met him at the door with hot cocoa and a crooked paper star he'd made. "Merry Christmas, love." They decorated a tiny tree with whatever ornaments Levi owned and fell asleep under fairy lights. For the first time since the scandal, Finn slept without nightmares. The new year brought fresh battles. A shareholder lawsuit moved forward. Finn's legal fees drained what savings remained. Levi took a consulting gig to help pay rent. They argued for the first time, not about love but about pride. "Let me help," Levi insisted. "We're partners now." Finn resisted, old habits of self-reliance dying hard. Eventually he relented, and something shifted. They became a team in every sense. One freezing January night, Levi came home late from a client meeting to find Finn cooking pasta and humming an old song. The domesticity hit Levi like a wave. He set down his bag and wrapped his arms around Finn from behind. "I'm proud of you," he whispered. Finn turned in his arms. "I'm proud of us." They kissed slowly, the kind of kiss that promised forever instead of stolen minutes. Outside, snow fell on the city that had tried to break them. Inside, two men built something stronger than any empire. Spring brought the first hearing. Finn sat in the courtroom wearing the same navy suit from the gala night. Levi beside him in the gallery offering silent strength. Elena's lawyer painted him as unstable, reckless, a danger to the children's moral development. Finn's attorney countered with character witnesses. Former employees who spoke of his fairness. His sister who flew in from Boston, even Dr. Patel who testified about his genuine growth. The judge, an older woman with sharp eyes, listened without expression. When she asked Finn if he had anything to say, he stood. "I love my children more than anything. Being gay doesn't change that. It only makes me more determined to show them it's okay to live truthfully." The words echoed in the marble hall. Elena looked away. The judge reserved her decision. Outside on the courthouse steps, Levi took Finn's hand openly. Photographers captured the moment. By evening, it was everywhere. Disgraced CEO holds hands with lover after custody hearing. Comments ranged from supportive to vicious. Finn read a few, then closed the laptop. "Let them talk. I'm done hiding." Levi grinned. There he is. They celebrated the small victory with cheap wine on the fire escape, toasting to truth and whatever came next. The company saga continued. A group of investors approached Finn privately about returning as advisor. "The new CEO is tanking us," they admitted. Finn declined. "I'm building something different now." He and Levi began sketching plans for a nonprofit tech incubator focused on LGBTQ youth, scholarships, mentorship, safe workspaces. The idea had been Levi's, born from his own painful teenage years. Finn poured his remaining savings and connections into it. Watching Levi light up while designing the program filled Finn with a purpose sharper than any quarterly earnings report. But progress invited backlash. Anonymous letters arrived at their apartment calling them sinners, predators. One night a brick shattered their window with a note attached. "Go back to the closet." Levi wanted to call the police. Finn insisted they clean up and keep going. Fear wins if we stop. They installed better locks and continued working. The resilience surprised even Finn. Summer arrived with the judge's ruling. Joint custody granted, with Finn allowed weekend visits and unlimited video calls. Elena received the house, but Finn kept enough to fund the nonprofit. The compromise felt like oxygen after drowning. The first weekend with the kids was awkward. Jacob still distant, Lily shy. Finn took them to a science museum, letting them lead. By Sunday evening, Jacob asked quietly, "Is Levi nice?" Finn answered honestly, "He's the kindest person I know." Jacob nodded once, processing. Small steps. Levi met the children for the first time at a neutral ice cream parlor. He brought 2 books tailored to their interests and didn't push. Lily warmed first, asking about his accent. Jacob watched warily but accepted a fist bump. When they left, Levi exhaled shakily. That was terrifying. Finn kissed his temple. You were perfect. Their relationship faced its own tests. Finn's guilt still flared during quiet moments. Levi's patience sometimes cracked under the weight of being the other man in public perception. One humid August night they argued after a tabloid ran a story questioning Levi's motives, suggesting he'd seduced Finn for money and power. Levi slammed the refrigerator door. "I gave up everything too, Finn. My career, my reputation. For you." Finn stood frozen. "I know. I'm sorry." They didn't speak for hours. Then Levi crawled into bed beside him. "I'm not going anywhere. But you have to stop punishing yourself." Finn pulled him close. "I'm trying. Every day." They made love that night with a gentleness that healed more than pleasure ever could. Slow, reverent, full of whispered promises. Afterward, tangled in sheets, Levi traced the compass pendant still around Finn's neck. "True north," he murmured. Finn smiled into his hair. "Found it." The nonprofit launched in September with a modest ribbon cutting. Local news covered it positively for once. Young people showed up. Teens kicked out of homes, college students needing mentors. Finn and Levi worked side by side, Finn learning to listen more than lead. One 17-year-old boy reminded Finn so much of young Levi that he spent extra hours helping him with college applications. The work exhausted and fulfilled him in equal measure. Fall brought another milestone. Finn's mother finally called after months of silence. "Your father would have struggled," she admitted, voice trembling. "But I don't want to lose my son." They met for lunch. She hugged Levi awkwardly but sincerely. "Treat him right," she told Levi. "He deserves it." Finn cried in the car afterward, healing tears. Yet not everyone softened. Old board members spread rumors that the nonprofit was a front for recruitment. A conservative news outlet ran a hit piece. Finn considered suing, then chose visibility instead. He and Levi gave their first joint interview to a respected LGBTQ magazine. Finn spoke about repression, Levi about resilience. The piece went viral in positive circles. Messages poured in from men in their 40s still hiding. Finn answered every single one. Winter returned, marking 1 year since the gala. They spent the anniversary quietly. Dinner at home, reminiscing, planning. Finn looked across the table at Levi, candlelight softening the lines of stress they'd both earned. "I used to think losing everything would break me," he said. "Turns out it freed me." Levi raised his glass. "To the man you're becoming." They clinked and kissed across the table, no longer afraid of who might see. The kids visited more frequently. Jacob asked to meet Levi again. Lily drew pictures of Daddy and Levi's new house. Elena remained civil, if distant. Finn accepted that some bridges might stay half-built. He focused on the ones he could strengthen. Christmas this year felt different. They hosted a small gathering, Finn's sister, Levi's best friend from Ohio, the kids for one night. Laughter filled the apartment. Finn watched Levi help Lily decorate cookies and felt his heart expand beyond anything he'd known in his old life. Later, when everyone left, Levi pulled Finn under the mistletoe they'd hung as a joke. "Merry Christmas, Mr. Harlan." Finn smiled against his lips. "Merry Christmas, my true north." The second year brought unexpected peace and fresh storms. The nonprofit thrived, securing grants and partnerships. Finn and Levi moved into a modest brownstone in Brooklyn with a backyard big enough for the kids to visit. Jacob started staying weekends regularly. Lily decorated her own bedroom corner. Elena even allowed a joint birthday party for Jacob. Finn stood beside Levi cutting cake, feeling like a real family was forming. Not traditional, but theirs. Then the past struck back. A former board member filed a civil suit alleging Finn misused company funds to facilitate his affair. The claim was baseless. Every receipt had been personal, but legal fees mounted again. Levi offered to sell his small investment portfolio. Finn refused at first, pride flaring, then accepted because partnership meant sharing burdens. They fought the suit together, poring over documents late into the night, Levi's legal mind complementing Finn's business acumen. Court dates stretched through spring. One afternoon outside the courthouse, Levi suddenly knelt on the sidewalk. "Marry me," he said, ring box shaking slightly in his hand. Passers-by stopped. Finn stared, heart hammering. "Here? Now?" Levi laughed through nerves. "Anytime. Anywhere. I just want the world to know I choose you every day." Finn pulled him up and kissed him right there on the courthouse steps. Cameras flashing again, but this time for joy. "Yes," he whispered against Levi's mouth. 1,000 times yes. They married quietly in June at City Hall with only close friends and family. Finn's mother cried happy tears. The kids tossed rose petals. No lavish reception, just backyard barbecue and dancing under string lights. Finn spun Lily around while Jacob taught Levi a complicated handshake. In that ordinary evening, Finn understood happiness wasn't about power or money. It was this messy, chosen, real. Summer brought the lawsuit dismissal. The judge ruled in their favor and even awarded legal fees. Finn felt the last chain of the old life snap. He and Levi celebrated with a weekend trip to the Catskills. Hiking trails Levi had loved as a boy. At the summit they sat watching sunset, hands linked. "I used to come here alone and dream of being accepted," Levi said softly. Finn rested his head on Levi's shoulder. "Now you get to show others it's possible." Back in the city, the nonprofit expanded, opening a second location. Finn took on more mentoring roles, sharing his story without shame. Men his age reached out, some still married, some terrified. He listened for hours, offering hope instead of advice. Levi ran the operations side, creating systems that scaled compassion. Their partnership, personal and professional, became seamless. Yet growth invited envy. An old rival started a competing program with more funding, spreading whispers that Finn's organization was agenda-driven. Media picked it up briefly. Finn considered ignoring it, then decided transparency was still his best weapon. He wrote an op-ed for a major newspaper detailing his journey from denial to advocacy. It resonated deeply. Donations doubled. Fall arrived with Jacob's 13th birthday. The boy asked if Levi could help coach his soccer team. Levi, who had never played organized sports, spent evenings learning rules and attending practices. Watching them on the field, Jacob laughing at Levi's clumsy kicks, healed something in Finn he hadn't known was still broken. Lily started calling Levi Papa Levi one quiet evening. Finn had to step outside to compose himself. Winter brought their first real test as husbands. Levi's mother, who had never fully accepted his sexuality, fell ill in Ohio. Levi flew home alone first. Finn joined 2 days later despite the woman's cold reception. They sat vigil together. On the third night, Levi's mother whispered to Finn, "Take care of my boy. He always loved too hard." Finn promised. She passed peacefully the next morning. Levi grieved deeply. Finn held him through nightmares and silence, learning that strength sometimes meant simply staying present. They scattered ashes in the same woods Levi had once escaped to. On the drive back, Levi said quietly, "I want to adopt a child someday. With you." Finn pulled over, tears blurring the highway. "Yes, whenever you're ready." The future stretched bright ahead of them. Back in Brooklyn, they threw themselves into life. Finn started writing a memoir, not for fame, but to help others. Levi designed curriculum for schools on inclusive leadership. Their days filled with purpose, their nights with quiet love. Arguments still happened, over dishes, over schedules, but they ended in forgiveness and laughter. One ordinary Tuesday, Finn came home to find Levi cooking and humming the same song from their first Christmas. He wrapped his arms around his husband from behind. "I love our life," he said simply. Levi leaned back into him. "Me too. Every messy, beautiful part." The old empire occasionally sent echoes. Former colleagues reached out for advice. Some even apologized. Finn offered guidance without bitterness. The man who once measured worth in stock prices now measured it in the eyes of the people he helped. Spring of the third year brought final closure. The kids spent spring break with them full-time. They planted a garden together, tomatoes for Jacob, flowers for Lily. Watching his children laugh with Levi in the dirt, Finn realized the scandal that had nearly destroyed him had actually saved him. He was no longer the CEO the world remembered. He was simply Finn, husband, father, mentor, man in love. Summer heat wrapped the city when the invitation arrived. Harlan Dynamics, under new leadership, wanted Finn to speak at their annual leadership summit. A redemption arc story, the email read. Finn laughed, reading it aloud to Levi. They want me to be their diversity checkbox. Levi raised an eyebrow. Or maybe they finally respect the man you became. Finn stared at the screen for a long moment. I'll go. But only if you come with me. The auditorium was packed with the same faces that had once turned away. Finn stood at the podium in a simple shirt, no tie, Levi seated in the front row. He didn't speak about business metrics. He spoke about fear, about the cost of living a lie, about the freedom on the other side. I lost an empire, he told them, and found myself. The real currency isn't profit, it's authenticity. The room was silent when he finished. Then applause started, slow, then thunderous. Several executives approached afterward, eyes wet, thanking him. One young woman whispered, I came out to my parents last night because of you. Finn hugged her. Levi watched from the side, pride glowing brighter than any spotlight. That night in their hotel room, Levi pulled Finn close. You changed the room today. Finn kissed him softly. We changed it. Together. They made love with the windows open to the city sounds, no longer hiding anything. Fall brought adoption paperwork. They chose an older child, a 12-year-old boy named Mateo who loved computers and had bounced through 3 foster homes. Meeting him felt instant. Mateo asked Finn bluntly, Are you really the CEO guy from the news? Finn laughed. Used to be. Now I'm just your future dad. Levi added, and I'm the one who burns toast. Mateo grinned. The connection clicked. The adoption process tested every ounce of patience they had. Home studies, interviews, court dates. Through it all, Finn and Levi leaned on each other harder. When doubts crept in, could they really do this? They talked late into the night. We built a life from ashes, Levi reminded him. We can build a family. Winter arrived with Mateo's first holiday with them. He helped decorate the tree, taught Jacob how to code a simple game, let Lily braid his hair. On Christmas morning, he opened the laptop they'd saved for and cried quietly. No one ever stayed before, he whispered. Finn and Levi knelt beside him. We're staying forever, Finn promised. Levi added, all of us. Spring of the 4th year brought the final court date. The judge signed the papers with a smile. Mateo officially became Mateo Harlan Caldwell. The family celebrated with pizza and ice cream, Jacob and Lily welcoming their new brother with open arms. Watching the 3 kids together, Finn felt complete in a way boardrooms never provided. Levi started teaching part-time at a community college. Finn expanded the nonprofit nationally. Their lives settled into a rhythm of school runs, soccer games, grant writing, and quiet evenings on the porch. Arguments still happened, over whose turn to drive carpool over Mateo's screen time, but laughter always followed. One warm evening, the whole family walked the Brooklyn Bridge. Jacob, now 16, teased Mateo about a crush. Lily, 13, held Finn's hand. Mateo walked beside Levi, matching his stride. Finn looked at Levi across the children's heads and mouthed, "Thank you." Levi mouthed back, "Always." Summer brought travel, their first family vacation to the Grand Canyon. They hiked, laughed, took terrible selfies. At the rim, Finn pulled Levi aside while the kids explored. "Remember the alley behind the gala?" Levi nodded. "Best and worst night of my life." Finn took his hand. Every night since has been better because of you. They kissed briefly, kids groaning in mock disgust. The moment felt eternal. Fall arrived with new challenges. Mateo struggled with school bullying over having two dads. Finn and Levi attended meetings, advocated, hugged him through tears. Being different is hard, Finn told him one night. But it's also powerful. You get to decide what kind of man you become. Mateo hugged him tight. I want to be like you and Papa. The words healed old wounds Finn hadn't realized still lingered. Winter brought reflection. 5 years since the scandal. Finn sat at his desk writing the final chapter of his memoir. Levi brought him tea, kissed his temple. Proud of you. Finn pulled him into his lap. Couldn't have done it without my true north. They laughed softly, the sound of children playing downstairs drifting up. The book launched quietly. It sold modestly but touched lives deeply. Readers wrote letters sharing their own awakenings. Finn answered everyone, Levi by his side. Spring of the 5th year brought the ultimate surprise. Elena called not for logistics but to apologize. I was angry, she said. But I see how happy the kids are. And how good you are now. They met for coffee. Forgiveness wasn't instant, but it started. Elena even attended Mateo's school play, sitting beside Levi. Small miracles. Summer brought renewal. They renewed vows in the same Brooklyn backyard with all 3 children, Finn's mother, Levi's surviving family, and close friends. Simple, heartfelt, theirs. Finn slipped a new ring on Levi's finger, engraved with True North. Levi did the same for Finn. The kids cheered loudest, looking at the life they'd built. The family, the work, the love. Finn understood the scandal hadn't been a fall. It had been a launch. He no longer mourned the empire. He celebrated the man he became because of its collapse. The 6th year settled into gentle rhythms. Mornings began with coffee on the porch while the kids got ready for school. Finn and Levi took turns making lunches, trading kisses over the kitchen counter. Mateo, now 13, Jacob 17, and Lily 14 filled the house with noise and life. The nonprofit had grown into a national network. Finn spoke at conferences, always with Levi beside him. Their story had become a quiet beacon for others still finding their way. One crisp October morning, exactly 6 years since the gala, Finn woke to find Levi already in the kitchen, humming the old song. Happy anniversary of the worst best day, Levi teased, sliding a mug across the counter. Finn pulled him close. Best decision I never planned. They kissed until the kids groaned from the stairs. Breakfast was chaos and laughter. Finn looked around the table. His husband, their 3 children, and felt gratitude so deep it ached beautifully. After dropping the kids at school, Finn and Levi walked the same high-line path they'd walked that first painful autumn. Leaves crunched underfoot. Remember when we thought the world was ending? Levi asked. Finn squeezed his hand. Turns out it was just beginning. They stopped at the exact spot where Levi had once told him to choose himself. Finn turned, cupping Levi's face. Thank you for never letting me choose the lie again. Levi's eyes shimmered. Thank you for choosing us every day since. They spent the afternoon at the nonprofit, mentoring new arrivals. A nervous 20-year-old man reminded Finn of his younger self. Married, successful, terrified. Finn listened for an hour, then introduced him to Levi. This is my husband. He saved my life. The young man left with hope in his eyes. Finn and Levi locked up together, walking home through twilight streets. Dinner was family style, Mateo's favorite tacos, Jacob's terrible jokes, Lily's latest school drama. After the kids retreated to homework, Finn and Levi sat on the porch swing, wrapped in one blanket. Stars emerged above Brooklyn. If someone told me 6 years ago that losing everything would give me this, Finn said quietly, I wouldn't have believed them. Levi rested his head on Finn's shoulder. Sometimes the universe has to break us open to let the light in. They sat in comfortable silence, hands linked, the compass pendants catching moonlight. The city hummed around them. Taxis, laughter, distant sirens. But inside their small world, everything was still. Finn thought about the boy he once was, the man he became, the family they created. No empire could match this. Later, as they climbed the stairs to bed, Levi paused. "You know what I love most?" Finn waited. "That we're still becoming. Every day." Finn kissed him deeply, the kind of kiss that still felt like discovery after all these years. "I love you, Levi Harlan Caldwell." Levi smiled against his lips. "I love you more, Finn Harlan Caldwell." They fell asleep tangled together, the house quiet around them. Outside, the same city that had once tried to destroy them now simply carried on, indifferent, alive, full of possibility. Inside, two men who had lost everything and found more slept peacefully, their story still unfolding. True or false? Coming out is always worth the cost, no matter who gets hurt along the way.